Welcome to Powerbombshells. Just two broads talking about wrestling that they like. It's Mel and Sam, and wait, there's someone else. We have a guest, and she's in Sam's room. It's so mysterious. I wonder if there's a relationship.
No.
Guys, today is like a special day, episode 23, because you've heard Sam talk about Nikki a lot, but now we get to meet her and talk with her. It's really cool because I was excited about this because I was like, oh my gosh, I get to meet her wrestling buddy. Like, it's fun to meet people's wrestling group, and you guys have seen a ton of wrestling together, and I've gotten to now meet another friends, a couple of people that he goes with regularly,
and
it's fun because you can merge your buddy group sometimes.
It's always the more friends that you have to watch wrestling with, the better. It's always really nice. Like, I saw the other day, I was going through the NJ High Alert hashtag, and I saw this group of people. They apparently met at the show. It was 6 or 7 of them, and they were we hung out and we had fun, and now we have a new group to hang out with. So that's really cool.
Yeah.
I was so sometimes the wrestling, like we've said, sometimes the wrestling community is awesome.
Well, I mean, it's usually a small group, just it's the ideal number. It's the number that science says is a good number.
Yeah.
So, the 3 to 5 it's the magic number. You all sit together, you pick, the seats that you want. Somebody is responsible for the Eventbrite app and everybody else, whatever it is. But
we have that. Yeah, we have that within our own group because it's actually, let's see, there's you, Doug, Matthew. So it's 5 of us, but sometimes it's 8 of us, depending on, or 5 to 8, depending on who else is coming. And so when we used to get, PWX hasn't been running as much this year, but generally, we plan our seats out before tickets go on sale, and we try to, and so we take up the entire front row usually. Part of it is because Doug is in a wheelchair, so he wants to be where he can see. So we just basically make sure we try to put Doug front and center, and then we just buy the seats out from that. And so we'll be like, okay, we're buying seats 1 and 2. And then the next person will be like, okay, I bought seat 3. That's how we just text each other, which seats we're going to buy. And that way we can take up the entire row. And then we've had our friends, sometimes they'll buy seats for us, and then we'll just PayPal them the money just so we can make sure. Cause it's going to be a little different because, we're going to GCW next month.
That's Nikki right. You've got another show coming.
Yeah, so Nikki and I will not be front row for GCW. We will be
smart.
A, smart, and B, budget, because I had just had my breaks done, and I was like, this is where we're gonna sit.
You were and I was adulting, stealing all my money for practical adult stuff, and not for
taking
wrestling.
For my wrestling fun. What is this? And then then they haven't gone on sale yet, but DPW was coming in November, so I'm sure we'll have one person who will probably buy all of the seats, and then we'll just PayPal him money immediately after, and then that way we can all sit together.
That's awesome.
So we have a little system.
And there it is. See, that's what my point was, is that and Sam and Nikki went to a show recently together that they're going to talk about coming up here pretty much.
If you watched last week's show,
we're going to start with some other stuff, but so if you've been listening, actually, you know what, if you've been watching for the last while, because we've been kind of excited about the fact that you got a New Japan Strong show in your area, so you guys got to go to something fun.
It was really cool.
So we're going to talk to Sam and Nikki about what went on. Plus, there was some other wrestling that you guys have been watching together, so we're really going to it's exciting.
We've watched a ton of wrestling, and there's still a lot of stuff that we haven't seen. We started some of Dark last night, but we didn't finish it, and we have Elevation's what we started last night, and then we have all of Dark to watch as well. So,
and now when you say we have Nikki to point to. We have an episode that she's on. It's you can go start to get to know her on this episode, and it's all set. And then and you can, she's even been kind enough to allow you the honor of potentially following her. See, I hate it's over here, guys, if you need it. It's on the left. It's in my blind spot.
Over that way.
Over there. Somewhere. Actually, it's kind of funny that we're all pointing in different directions.
Yeah.
The point is that below us is where you can follow Nikki if you want to, and
you'll figure it out.
I mean, if you know anything from following, especially the Powerbombshells, and more Sam than me because she's on more than I am with that stuff, is that don't start none, won't be none. Like, you're fine. Yeah. Everything's fine. So
it's fine.
You're all good. See?
Yeah.
And I saw that you guys had posted a couple.
Yeah, I meant to do it sooner, and then I finally got to it the other. But I'm going to keep adding. I think what I might do is, so I added a few shows from NJ High Alert, and I think like once they start announcing episodes and who's on them, then I'll post like, okay, this is the matches this week on New Japan, and then like post some of the pictures that correlate with that episode. I think is what I'm going to try to do. If that actually happens, is another story. But
which is a kick-ass segue for the fact that we are going to spoil the crap out of the North Carolina Strong show.
So if you don't want spoilers,
you don't want.
Well, come back in 4 weeks.
Wait, here it is. Spoiler alert!
Yeah, that's going to be our new friend.
We're going to be using that today. So if you do not want spoilers for the North Carolina show, be wary. But first, you guys apparently dipped into some SummerSlam last night. I saw it on, it was trending all over wrestling Twitter, and I was like, should I bother? And then I was like, no, we started watching Stranger Things. We're finally catching on to cultural phenomenon.
Stranger Things,
so we're going to go do that instead.
It's a much better fulfillment of your time. Even if you've already seen Stranger Things, it's a much better fulfillment.
We finally jumped on I've had a few friends over time say that I would actually enjoy it.
Yeah,
and
we love it.
I appreciate cultural importance, and I get to things when I get to them. And
right.
Bob and I will have to get Bob on so that we can do a reference to Bob one. Maybe we'll have Bob and Nikki on together.
That'd be fun.
That'd be a monster show. That'll be big. You guys are gonna have to wait for that, okay?
Yeah.
We're not giving this stuff away, okay?
No. That's why you should subscribe. Subscribe to Fight Game Media, because you never know when we're gonna have special guests on.
Exactly.
So
she does that so well. I love how good she is with that.
I try to be a professional about some things.
You're so good. It's so good. I on the other hand, I'm just hilarious. I'm here to be funny. So the point is, okay, what was I talking about? Is that you guys dipped into SummerSlam last night and have some thoughts about it. So let's
we weren't planning to watch SummerSlam at all. Like we got home when it was already on. Like we'd been out shopping, and we were planning to catch up on like G1 or like watch some of the AEW we're behind on. Like we had other plans, and then I saw from another Slack group that I'm in, I just saw Bailey in all caps, and I was like, well, I'm not surprised. I figured Bailey was coming back tonight. That was so. And then I see Dakota, and I was like, wait, what? Then I saw EO, and I was like, hold on. I was like, what is happening? And so Nikki was like, well, let's just turn it on and see. And so we missed all of that stuff. So if you have not seen SummerSlam, apparently at the end of the match, Bailey showed up, and she has a new stable that she's the leader of. And so they brought back Dakota Kai, and they called EO up from NXT. And so supposedly EO's contract was almost up. There's been rumors about what was going to happen with her. Clearly, most likely, I guess she's re-signed because she was there last night, and she has a new shirt. However, they have changed her name, but it's not a crazy change like Gunther
and Dewdrop.
Yeah, it's nothing crazy like that. It's EO IYO Sky. I don't know why they changed it. Nikki made the point last night. Maybe she doesn't want them to have ownership of that name.
I think that's
fair.
And so maybe they went
because she let her contract expire.
Right.
And, they can't have, if she doesn't use that anymore, she can file for her own copyright of that. And
right. And at least Io Sky is close enough to Io Shirai that it's not like a gigantic change of like how they typically do things. So, but yeah, so they did that. Dakota.
They usually do what I've heard and read. They usually do change the name if the wrestler is unwilling to relinquish their. Like Prince Devitt would never say you get this.
Exactly.
So now you have to be Finn Balor. So yeah. I mean, it is what it is. Like you're never getting that name. And I'm pretty sure that's what happened with Pete Dunne as well, is that he was like, no.
Yeah.
And Walter, or as Brian Alvarez likes to pronounce it, Walter.
Yes.
I think it's, but I do think that there is something in the way. And you know what? Good on them. Like, fair play, because 100%. Jon Moxley is the man, and I'm glad he's Jon Moxley.
Yeah, well, and
that
even
other guy is gone
that was
forever.
the thing with, that was one of the issues with Mia Yim. She would never, and Keith Lee, neither one of them would sign over their names.
I don't blame
and
them.
Now, Keith Lee is still Keith Lee in AEW, and Mia Yim is still Mia Yim in Impact, which is kind of interesting because she was Jade there. But then she came back as Mia Yim. But I mean, obviously, it's just because that's what people know her as, and she's. But so it's, and I mean, it's like you said, it is a smart thing to do, and so and Nikki made a really good point with that. And so, then apparently, while they were on commentary, Corey kept saying Dakota was not under contract, but then later on, they released that she has a new shirt. So they all three have.
Come on, now we all know what merch means.
Yeah, exactly. And so Bailey's shirt is just it's a new color of an old shirt. It just says hello ding dong or something on there, that thing that she was doing before. But somebody made the point last night that Bailey has not been in front of a crowd in 2 years and 4 months. Because she was in the no fan era for so long, and then she got injured before they started going in front of live crowds. So
it hurts my heart when you tell me things like that. I'm such a Bailey fan.
And she got a really big reaction at a huge pay-per-view.
I hated when they turned her heel. It made me so mad.
Oh, see, I loved heel Bailey. I thought she did a phenomenal job, and I think
she did, because she is a professional. She did a good job with it. It was like, I mean, not going to be my favorite, but what ended up being my favorite was heel Brian Danielson, Daniel Bryan with the Fickle belt. That's my favorite belt that anybody has done.
I love that belt.
That belt is amazing. It's one of my favorite. We talk about getting replicas of that.
That's what I said. Like, if I was ever going to get a replica of a belt, it would be that one.
It would be that one. When he was
I love that belt.
Fickle. I still do it all the time. I can't help myself.
Nikki has done it a few times too about the Fickle. So yes, we definitely. But yes, I think Bailey is still heel. But they also, so she showed up at the end of Becky versus Bianca. Becky is now a babyface. And so it sounds like, and then I saw a tweet before while we were prepping for the show. Apparently, Triple H is the one who turned Becky babyface. Had Vince still been in charge, he would have left her as a heel. So I guess that's one of the
all those ridiculous outfits.
So Triple H is, I guess he's trying to make his mark with women's wrestling, or at least that's where he put his emphasis last night. He brought back Dakota Kai, which is interesting because it sounds like, from what I read, she had initial conversations with AEW, but it never went any further for whatever reason. I don't know if it was her on her end or their end, or maybe kind of a both type of thing. And then Io, I guess, obviously because Triple H came back, he convinced her to stay. I don't know how close she was to leaving anyway. But it sounds, and I also read that this stable was pitched before, and with Bailey as the leader, but it was supposed to have Raquel, I think she changed her name. I think she's not Raquel on the main roster anymore.
I don't remember.
I don't keep track either, so
I can't remember because I don't watch. And then it was supposed to be her, Raquel, and I don't think it was Io. I think it was somebody else, but Vince told them no. And so I guess Triple H was like, I'll do it. So the internet was going crazy, and so Nikki's like, well, I'm just gonna turn it on, and the first thing we see is Logan Paul, and
I turned it right back off. I was like, the hell am I watching this?
No.
Yeah, so we
That's
were
a
just
sign right there. That's
so we were like, well, we'll just like kind of wait and see. But then Triple H tweets, we're just getting started, kind of implying something's gonna happen. They've already canceled the Seth Rollins, Matt Riddle, or I'm sorry, I think he's just Riddle now. I don't know. Because you know how they drop first names.
Yeah.
So it was Rollins and Riddle was canceled because they decided that they might do that match at Clash at the Castle in September.
in Manchester or wherever the hell it's being.
I think is it in Wales maybe? I think it's it's
might
somewhere
be right.
in the UK, but I think it might
you
be
might
Wales,
be right. Yeah.
Wherever it is, they've talked about postponing it, but then they had a segment with them. Like Matt Riddle just came out, and I had it muted because it's Riddle. And so I had it muted, and I was like, I'm not listening to this. Then I look up, and Seth Rollins is out there, and they're like trying to hold him back, except not really hold him back. And he just like beats the crap out of him. And I'm like, well, why didn't they just have the damn match? Like, because people were going crazy, like, of course, going crazy, speculating. Like, a lot of people were hoping that he would re-sign Johnny Gargano, and Johnny Gargano would just have a match with Seth Rollins. Or we thought maybe Seth Rollins would get put into the main event. Maybe he'd help Roman Reigns because they were in the Shield together. Or maybe he would get revenge from Royal Rumble and he would help Brock Lesnar. Or maybe he would just win it all himself if they made it a triple threat. And so that's why we were like, well, we're going to watch the main event. But before we got to that, we did see Street Profits versus the Usos for the unification of the tag team titles. And Jeff Jarrett was Jeff Jarrett, of course, because they're in Nashville, had to be the special guest referee.
Because Effie made him popular again.
Yeah, Effie. Yeah, because Effie.
You're welcome.
Yeah,
exactly.
And there were some Effie references last night because Edge returned and he had kind of like this Gangrel entrance, which we missed. That's why we turned it back on. We were like, oh, well, we'll see what's happening, because I saw video of it and I was like, well, we'll turn it back on. And then that's when the Riddle stuff happened, and we were like, why is it every time we turn it on there's crap? It's like, this is why I don't watch this company anymore.
Also, you need to check out Seth Rollins' fit from last night because he looked like a creamsicle.
Yeah. He did. It was
very 70s, and he gave off creamsicle vibes.
He did. He was definitely going for what's your favorite ice cream from the ice cream truck.
That's awesome. He was mad about the Choco Taco, so.
Oh, see, perfect. He's like, fine, this is what I'll get from the ice cream truck now.
I still have something I like.
Yeah. But yeah, so Edge had on a red jacket that looked very similar to the Effie jacket. And so a lot of people in my timeline were making references to Effie, and somebody was like, RIP Effie's mentions. And so
yeah,
Effie tweeted later, he was like, I get it, I'm cool, or something like that. And he had like a picture of himself in the jacket. So
that's great though. I love that.
I do. Yes, it's great. And the more Effie, the better. And then yeah, so the Usos match was the Usos and the Street Profits. I mean, they always have good matches. I know we fuss about how WWE does the same match like 29 times. Actually more than that. But I was like, that's a match that I can watch and not get tired of. Like the Usos and Street Profits are always good together.
Street Profits entrance was really good.
Yeah, they brought in the Titans cheerleaders, and then their gear was Titans inspired gear that they had, which I'm assuming Bianca made because Bianca makes all of their gear generally.
Oh, hang on.
Yeah.
They let the local team be involved in an event.
They did.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
This is the Triple H era, okay?
That is huge. That's like bigger to me than some of the matches. That's a massive, like, that's a Tony Khan swerve right there.
Right. Yeah. People
were
like,
making, Tony does it all the time. We're gonna fucking do it.
People were making references.
It's good. You should do it. It's like the greatest thing ever. People love that stuff. They love it. If you do that stuff here in Detroit, they just get Oh man,
Yeah.
that's
Bianca is from Knoxville, and she had the band from, I forget which college it was. I think during one of her not at this show, but at WrestleMania, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, that's the marching band from
right. So Bianca's really good about. Yeah, Bianca's really good about doing stuff like that. So I guess with the Street Profits, but it was cool that they did.
That's awesome.
But people were making references to Sunny Kiss because Sunny Kiss has
That's what I thought of.
She's had the Jags cheerleaders out there, and somebody was like, "It was giving me Sunny Kiss vibes," and Sunny was like, "I saw it." She's like, "They killed it." She's like, "They did really good." But yeah, so that was cool. They had a really cool entrance and stuff like that. And then so it turns out that the Usos did win, which is kind of what we thought because of the whole bloodline thing, and figured that's where they were going. So they are now, I think last night they had said that they had held the titles for 376 days.
Wow.
And so, yeah. And the Street Profits, especially Angelo Dawkins, looked pretty upset. I'm hoping they're not going to turn them on each other. I was kind of waiting on it because that's been the rumor, is that not that because I love Street Profits. I think they're phenomenal, but it's always been kind of, Tez has been the one who kind of stands out because he's so charismatic, and he's so that a lot of people want
real big on him.
Yeah, and I've heard they want to do a solo run with him. And then I've heard some people have been talking more and more about Dawkins and how like they're really, I guess, kind of letting him shine a little bit more. And people are like, they really could do. So I'm wondering if that's another reason they lost last night. I wonder if they're getting ready to split them.
I don't want that.
It's like you could just do like New Day, where you both you compete as a team and then you support each other individially and then come back and
it's
do
not
your
hard
thing.
to do that.
But that's listening to the fans, and well, that remains to be seen.
That's I mean, we don't know.
We don't know.
Baby steps.
Yeah,
we'll take the Titans cheerleaders, okay?
Yeah, right.
That's a start.
Yeah, and so we did not watch. We tuned out after that because we were like, we're not watching Ronda Rousey.
Well, we did end up leaving Pat McAfee.
Oh, we did.
We did. I think we were doing stuff. So
I think we were trying to. Yeah, and so Pat McAfee, he wrestled Corbin, who was still happy Corbin.
That's stupid.
And yeah, I was like, see, this is the kind of reason I don't watch this stuff anymore. Like, this is a big reminder. That's a lot of for everything they were doing that was cool. It also was just a reminder of why I don't watch anymore. So that was.
I haven't seen a good gimmick on Corbin in the entire time I've been aware of him.
Yeah, I've never been a Corbin fan.
He was King Corbin. He was Baron Corbin. He was.
I hate all of the Corbin.
Yeah,
it's nonstop. I'm sure the guy has something in there because he does, I guess, the best he can. It's I have no idea if this guy is meaningful or not because they always have him doing some stupid.
Yeah, and apparently, I guess part of the storyline with the reason he was feuding with Pat in the first place is because they were rookies together when they played football, and Corbin lived with the Pat McAfee for a little bit, slept on his couch, and then I don't know where. So I guess that's kind of what the roots of the feud were, and then I don't know. They were Corey was calling him the hillbilly. What was the hillbilly millionaire? I think is what he was calling Pat McAfee. And so Pat gets the win. He low blowed Corbin when the ref wasn't looking, and Michael Cole was like, well, that's payback for what Corbin did to him. And so Michael Cole was super into it because Pat McAfee is his BFF now, and he was super into it. Corey Graves was pissed off the entire time, so it was typical WWE stuff there. But yeah, and so
also Pat had a pretty cool entrance. He had a choir out there to do his music or his theme. And I was like, I love that because he knows he doesn't have that many matches that he goes for, so he does it big every time. I was like, that's what I would do too.
You're I'm only gonna get a couple of these. So I'm gonna make the most of them. I'm going big, man. Exactly. Go big or go home, right?
Yeah. He definitely did that. And then, because then people were like, I miss his Seven Nation Army theme. And people were like, Triple H isn't going to pay for that Seven Nation Army theme. So it was cool though. And then so we tuned out. We did not watch Ronda Rousey. So that's when we started Dark. We got like 3 matches into that because of course there were 2 very short women's matches.
Of course.
So we got those in, and then
how short were they?
Yeah.
Sorry.
But yeah, so we tuned in for, and luckily, thank goodness, we tuned out what we did because apparently they brought Kane on there, and then there was something with Kid Rock in the crowd, and this like comedian that I'm not sure who she is, but people who know her apparently love her. So they did like a bit with that, and thankfully we missed all of that, and so we probably just could have kept watching Dark a little bit. I mean, Elevation a little bit longer because Roman Reigns' entrance is like Undertaker levels where it is so long and drawn out. And then Brock's entrance was very long too. I was like, Jesus,
I tweeted and was like, this is a waste of time.
It was. I was like, just get to it. So
I can't get this time back.
Exactly. And I was like, I mean, we've had this match so many times. There's nothing more that these two can do in a match together. I mean, they had some cool moments, and like they of course had Paul Heyman involved because Brock is still mad at him for turning on him to side with Reigns. And then he, there's the stuff where earlier he made it look like he was back with Brock and then he turned on him to help Reigns. And so there were a few times they did make it look like Brock might actually win. And I thought, well, he did have the temper tantrum when Vince left. Maybe they promised him, we'll let you win this match if you come back. But so he had a tractor. He came out on a tractor. That was like his entrance. And then he left the tractor, obviously ringside, to come back later. So he put Roman Reigns in the, like, I guess it's a bucket or like the scoop part of the tractor. So he puts Roman in that and dumps him into the, like, he beats him up, puts him in there, and then puts him in the ring, hoping he's not going to stand. And of course he does. And they go back and forth. We get Austin Theory coming in he's just Theory now. Just Theory. So we get Theory's trash ass coming out there with his Money in the Bank briefcase that he hits Roman Reigns with. And Brock is like, no, you are not going to take this match for me. And he like takes them out. And I think he F5'd him. And so the two of them go back and forth between Brock and Roman Reigns. And it looks like, for a while, it looks like Reigns is like, maybe he's actually just going to stand down. And then a couple times Brock looked like he wasn't going to get up. And then, so Brock gets on the tractor, or I may be remembering this in the wrong order, but at some point Brock gets back on the tractor and Roman's in the ring and he starts shoving the ring and moving it over to make Roman fall to try to get him to not be standing anymore. It
was very
WWE. Yeah.
Like, and some people apparently loved it, and I'm not really like hating on it that much, but I was like, this just is not, I don't care about this. This is not entertaining to me anymore.
Yeah, I was not sports entertained, but some people were sports entertained.
I mean, it is what it is.
It is, yeah, definitely.
Like what you like.
Yeah, exactly. So
it's not my thing.
Yeah.
So then I couldn't bring myself to switch it on, and even though wrestling Twitter seemed to buzz, I was like, I can't.
Yeah. I
don't know why.
I just kind of wanted to see the main event because I wanted to know, because I was like, well, if Johnny Gargano comes back, like, I want to see it.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, that is something that I could totally
see. So I was like, I kind of want to see that. And so, but yeah, so they ended up burying Brock, because the Usos were out there too, and they ended up burying Brock under pieces of the announce table, and he could never get up, and he got counted out, and Roman Reigns retained, which is kind of what we thought. Because because the plan, I think, has always been that Roman Reigns would hold it through Mania, and they're hoping that he's going to face The Rock next year at Mania. So I was like, they have some creative ways to, I guess, have him still win to kind of keep it sort of entertaining, but I know a lot of people are just over it. And I was like, I mean, I love Roman Reigns, so I have always been a fan of his. So I had been calling for him to turn heel, like, years. I kept saying, and there's tweets. I found tweets from like 2017, and I'd actually been talking about it before then. That was like, turn Roman Reigns and put him with Paul Heyman and let Paul Heyman be his mouthpiece, because that's when Roman wasn't great on the microphone. And then they finally did it, and I was like, see, I've been telling you for like 5 years.
You're right.
To do this, and look how incredible it's been. But yeah, so then we all had the kind of hesitation with, like, you know how NXT used to end and then it would come back on and it would be
like a stinger kind of deal.
Yeah, exactly. And so we kind of wondered if that's what they were gonna do, but we are all kind of like, is Gargano gonna come back like now? That Roman Reigns is one, but he didn't, and it just ended. And so I was like, that man literally tweeted, this is just the beginning, like more was gonna happen, and then it was the same WWE. So I mean, Triple H does deserve praise because he did some cool stuff. I saw a lot of people tweeting they enjoyed the pacing, like it didn't seem so, like they enjoyed the pacing, and they were like, and Michael Cole was real. They were like, the real winner is Michael Cole because he's not being screamed at,
right?
And he can just be himself, because apparently I think he dropped a curse, or he said, I don't remember what it was.
Damn, I think.
Oh my God, what?
He apparently said something in the main event, and like so people were like, well, Michael Cole is the one who's really winning here. So Triple H does deserve praise. On the other hand, and I'm glad people are excited about it, because WWE tends to have things that will excite you and then they don't follow through. Like, I'm not convinced that this is not enough to make me watch regular. Like, I even tweeted when the women, I was like, great, I'm so glad they're back. I'm glad they have jobs. But if you're not going to give them the TV time, if you're not going to develop their characters, if you're going to make them wrestle 4-minute matches, then I'm not going to reconsider coming back to watch, because it's just not worth it, because it's just more of the same. And then, like we talked about prior, there was a thread last night that was talking about how the bar that Vince set was so low that Triple H can do the bare minimum and fans will be happy.
Yep.
Because, and I think that's the best way to look at it. I mean, maybe it's a cynical way to look at it, but it's also because it's
also an honest way to look at it.
Yeah, so that's why I'm like, all these people are so excited, and I'm like, that's just one pay-per-view. Like, I don't know. He's got to follow through. Like, you can bring all these people in, but if you're going to do more of the same, then I'm not going to invest my time in it again. Like, you have to, and a lot of people have said, and we talked about it before too, that they run WrestleMania to WrestleMania. So there may not be a lot of huge changes between now and March. Like, we may see more, or I guess April, I think, is when it runs now. So we may see more then. And like, so I don't know if they're going to get rid of Kevin Dunn or Bruce Pritchard this soon. And you can tell Michael Hayes apparently was the agent of the main event. And so I was like, when you have people like that who are still in charge of your matches, there's not going to be that much change. Like, they're going to continue to do things that they've done under Vince for 15 and 20 years, because that's how they know how to do things. And so when you have people like that still in charge, then it's just gonna be more of the same. And so
changing a company's culture takes a long time, no matter what you're doing.
100%.
So no matter who you've got a new, hierarchy in terms of like infrastructure with CEOs and CFOs and creative and all these things. But the bottom line is like, from a fan perspective, I want WWE to be good. I want to tune in, but they have an incredibly long way to go. Before I'm going to be like, yippee, it's WrestleMania or SummerSlam or Royal Rumble's coming up. And I would love to be excited about Rumble and Mania and these things again. But you got a long way to go. And there's way too much wrestling out there that I like for me to be like, I'm going to do this. And I get it as part of my subscription to Comcast.
It's
not free, but I'm not paying extra for it.
And that,
either.
that was another thing that was in that thread was he doesn't have to worry about selling pay-per-views because it's part of Peacock. So people are gonna watch it. He doesn't have to worry about attracting new subscribers. He's got the TV deals. The person who made those TV deals is Nick Khan. He's co-CEO. So Triple H basically has a dream job because he can do the bare minimum and he will get all the praise for it, and he was like, I'm not saying he doesn't deserve it, but the point is he's not having to do very much
it's a long way. Long way.
And it even goes back to when Cody came, I was just like I didn't watch the Raw where he came back. I saw video of where he came back, but I was like, I like Cody. I hope I loved him in AEW. I've been a fan of his for a really long time. We've met him. He's super nice. He's just I love Cody, and I hope he's happy, and I hope that he gets everything that he wants that he couldn't have in AEW. I hope he gets the title Dusty never got. I hope he gets all of it, but it's not enough. He is not enough reason for me to tune back in and start watching on a regular basis. I love Kevin Owens, and I've tweeted that recently. The thing I miss the most about not watching WWE is I miss Kevin Owens. I miss watching him because he's so good. Yeah. And he is one of my favorites, and I don't blame him for re-signing. He was smart. He got his bag. He's on the back end of his career. He's older. He will likely, if he wants to, I'm sure he could be a coach at the PC.
Yeah, definitely.
He could agent matches if he wanted to. If he probably is WWE for life, and what, good for him. They've treated him really well. He's one of the few people that they have treated really well and have done a good job with for the most part. And so I don't blame him for not leaving. And now he has, and Sami Zayn is re-signed a 5-year deal. So he gets to be with his best friend. So and it seems like he gets to take time off when he needs it. And so, I'm really happy for him, but he, as much as I love him, it's not enough for me to regularly go out of my, and even because we got to the point at the end where we were fast forwarding and only watching people we liked, and then the women's matches, and then it just got to be where that was too, I wasn't enjoying it.
Yeah, I was gonna say, even with the people that I love, I was still fast forwarding through because I was like, I just don't care. I don't want to watch this. Right. It's the same thing over and over.
Right.
And I was very thankful when she stopped having women's matches for WWE. I was like, can you stop having them yet?
I was like, when we get to October, it will be the 1 year mark. And yes, we can stop. And we did. And we watched
when Scott Hall died.
Yeah, because we thought they were going to do more tributes to him, and they really did. And it quickly went back into it's on in the background, and I'm doing other things, and I'm playing on my phone. I was like, which is exactly what was happening. It wasn't anything keeping my attention. And we watched the Royal Rumble, and we watched WrestleMania. I guess we did watch all of WrestleMania.
Yeah.
And then
I don't know why we're watching this.
Yeah. We ended up on shows, Sam. We ended up on shows about WrestleMania. So we actually did.
That is right.
WrestleMania.
Yeah. I was like, did we? I can't remember. They're all
I don't know why, but it's for the last several WrestleManias, somehow and I've not paid for them because they've been the Peacock thing or whatever.
Yeah.
But for whatever reason, I've managed to watch them since I've watched just about all of them since WrestleMania 35 that I narrowly escaped. And I mean, after that, I wasn't sure I was ever going to go near WrestleMania.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
Even on TV, I was just in case.
Yeah. So, but yeah. So I mean, I hope that I'm glad fans are happy. I hope WWE delivers. I don't know that they will or how long it's going to take. I think people are going to want instant changes. And I don't think that's going to happen.
They want blood and they want TV 14. So,
yeah.
But they hate AEW, so they don't want it to be exactly like AEW. Which
Somebody said Tony is going to tell Wardlow to go dump the ring in the lake. I mean, in the water.
He should go beat up some security guards so they can join that lawsuit.
Yeah, right? Mark Sterling needs more clients.
Live Love Super Kicks is going to be something. I'm not buying the t-shirt. I refuse, but
yeah,
that's my new life philosophy.
Yeah, so that's enough WWE talk.
Sweet. All right. Wow. People were like, these guys aren't supposed to talk about that.
I know. And I'm sure that the Wrap is going to do an excellent job. And I hope that they are happy about some of the things that are happening because they have to sit through it every week. So, I mean, I don't think
that's what I do. I listen to the Wrap because they do a better job of explaining what WWE is doing poorly or whatever. It's way more fun to listen to the Wrap than it is to watch.
Yeah.
That's how I stay. I would weirdly informed. We'll say that's to listen to the Wrap. So
yeah,
Keelan
go subscribe to
do an
Patreon.
Amazing job.
If you subscribe to the Fight Game Media Patreon, you can listen to
and
the Wrap.
I was gonna say, and
right there.
They are on the free feed, but their bonus content is on the Patreon, and their bonus content gets what TV 14 will say.
Yes. Yeah, pretty much.
And it's a lot of fun.
Yes, if you want WWE content, that's where you need to go.
Go that way. They're much, much better at WWE than WWE is.
Yes, they are.
All right. So I think it's time. Wait, let me show you.
For the same thing.
For the main event.
It's time. There's been enough talk.
Somebody did a thing last night, and it was a tweet of Mark Henry. It was this picture of like where he does that, and they said it's time for the same event, and it was a picture of Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns and Bianca versus Becky.
Okay, that's funny.
Yeah, it made me laugh, and people were like, "Okay, this is funny," but I like watching Bianca and Becky. I kept wanting to say Bailey. I was like, that's not who it is. And they were like, yes, we agree about Roman and Brock Lesnar.
All right, so here we go. So everybody get ready. This is your alert, okay? Spoiler alert. We are about to spoil the ever-loving poo out of the Charlotte, North Carolina New Japan Strong show.
Yep.
So let me show it to you again in case you missed it.
Yeah. Come back and you might have to skip ahead like 30 minutes because I don't know how long this is.
30 minutes about good. And then we'll show it again before we blow up some G1 if you haven't seen all the way through.
Or
I just wanted to make sure that no one could accuse us of it because we put this on here, okay? Yeah. This.
And also, and I'll say it again, if you're not watching Strong, you're missing out.
You're doing a disservice to yourself.
Yeah, it's only an hour.
And your mental well-being. It will only make you smile and be happy.
Right.
Ian Riccaboni is my favorite.
I love Ian Riccaboni.
He is the best.
He is so, I love it. And he's totally learning from Kevin Kelly. So, and he's been doing some of those ROH pay-per-views and stuff. I'm just like, he's gotten so good.
He has gotten good, and we've talked about it before. I mean, we didn't get Caprice on this because this is New Japan and not Ring of Honor, but we have talked about our love of Caprice and how well he and Ian play off of each other. So we did. I could not hear, but I had Alex Kozlov. I don't know if he told us which Tiger Mask because he was not.
I don't know.
There was not a Tiger Mask match. I have not heard commentary yet, so I don't know if Alex Kozlov talked about it these 4 episodes.
We'll find out.
We'll find out. So stay tuned. So the first, we have been, I guess we'll preface this real quick. We have been to one New Japan show. It was a joint show with PWX, who was, again, my local promotion. It was called Legend. The show was built around Liger. We got to see Liger wrestle before he retired. We got to meet him, which I will forever be thankful to PWX for allowing to meet Liger.
Yes.
So I should find that picture and post it up on.
You should. I've never gotten to meet him. I got to see him at Madison Square Garden in the thing.
So that wasn't better.
Nothing
sold out single-handedly. That show.
Yeah, that's the one. You've heard about it. You've heard about it.
Yeah, might have heard. Yes, and we got to meet. We got to meet Rocky and Show and Yo, because that's when Show and Yo were when they
still
were
together.
Yeah, they were still together with Rocky, and
I absolutely love Yo. I mean, I do love Show. He's great, even if he turned on him. But I love Yo. So
she does.
It's okay. I think that you picked the one that you like sometimes.
Yeah.
Or you love that they were together, but it's just you lean one way or the other. Some people are show people, some people are heel people.
So this was our first like full New Japan show. However, luckily for us, there was some talent that wrestles locally, and PWX, I've mentioned a couple times, has not been running as often this year. They've only ran 2 shows, so it's very nice. I got some people I usually see monthly. I got to see on a New Japan show.
Nice.
And then we were still missing some of our people.
Yeah, we were still missing some of them. So the first. Go ahead.
No, I thought you meant our friends, but then I realized you meant wrestlers. So.
Yes, we did. We have missed our friends. We get to talk to them in text message about wrestling, but we don't get to see them as often. So we saw a few of them. We were spread out a little bit, but we got to see some friends that we hadn't seen in a while. So that was nice too. Yeah. So the first hour started off, and it was Jorts Nelson. So we got some Team Filthy right off the bat.
Yeah.
And he wrestled Shane Haste. From TMDK.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So that was a really solid match. The second match was local PWX wrestler Drew Adler.
This is going to be really fun when this actually comes out, because I'll get to see some of your wrestlers from your. Yeah. That's really cool. I love this. I haven't gotten to the dark, and I want to. That's cool. I'm excited.
Yeah, Drew Adler's really he does like comedy stuff. To an extent, but he's like, he was they turned him heel, but he was still doing some of his comedy stuff. So he faced JR Kratos. So
okay, so Drew
did
his thing a little bit.
Yeah, he had his comedic stuff in there, and JR Kratos was not having it. It did not go well for Drew Adler.
It did not, but it was great.
Yeah, and Kratos, he's so like, you see on TV like how huge he is, but like in person he was in, because he wears the all red. Well, this time he was in all yellow, and he still was like super intimidating even in like this bright yellow robe. And
so he looked like one of those like blow up castles at a carnival or something if he was in all yellow or something, because he's so enormous. I mean,
he's huge. Like he would, that man could wear any color he wants, and he's super intimidating.
Yeah.
And so it was a fun match. It was good, and it was cool to kind of see Drew get in his comedic spots and have Kratos kind of like no sell it, but just like, I'm not having this. We're not doing this today. But it worked really well. It was a lot of fun, especially because, like we said, we've watched Drew Adler for several years, and so it was just really cool, because I believe this is his first. I believe that was his first New Japan match. I don't think he's ever wrestled in New Japan before, so he gets an introduction with JR Kratos.
Awesome.
Yeah, so that was cool. And then the main event was basically a PWX match. The main event of the first hour, I should say. It was John Skyler versus Lucky Ali.
I'm sure they love the face I just made at John Skyler's
name. They've heard me talk about John Skyler before. They know I don't. They know I don't like him. Cannot stand him.
He knows though.
He knows that we don't like him either.
Well, I mean, you guys have done your job then.
So he was. I mean, he is the former PWX champion. And
I didn't
twice, right?
We didn't always hate him, but he just is.
Yeah. Some people do things, and there you go.
I just do not care for him, and so I can't. But it seems like I can never escape him. He's always like, he's in Impact. He wrestles there sometimes. He's not as prominent there. I'm sure the Brace for Impact guys know who he is, I'm sure. But yeah, I mean, he did some stuff, like he's been on NXT. He was during the pandemic era of AEW. He was there for a little bit. He hurt his knee. Was it his knee or his ACL?
ACL, I think.
In the ring. So they I'm pretty sure.
I mean, that's his knee. So you were both right.
But they took care of him, because it happened in an AEW ring. Like they took care of his recovery and things like that. So, and then I guess they just decided not to do anything with him, and so he went to Impact, and he's been on there some. But yeah, so he's still wrestling. Like, he hasn't been in PWX for a while, because like the way they ended the feud, he's pretty much. No, that's a lie. He came back. He never fully leaves. He's always.
God, we have to hear
a true wrestler.
Yeah. He always finds a way to come ruin my day.
Yeah, you'll hear.
At least you can tell him about it, though.
Yeah,
you'll hear Eminem.
Oh no, he knows that we cannot. He knows how we feel. Our entire, and it's not just us; it's our entire group.
Good. Well,
So
I mean,
he's cool.
It's okay. Aware. We don't know about wrestling though. He's made comments about how we don't know about wrestling
because
we don't understand the psychology of it.
No.
Oh.
Yeah, he's made those shots at us before.
Okay. You guys just don't get it.
Yeah. No, we don't know. We don't get it.
I've only been watching since I was a child. But
I need him to mansplain for me because I don't get it.
Well, especially you don't get it because you're girls.
Like, yeah, especially
women cannot understand sports.
No, cannot at all. And so, unfortunately, we could not take a bathroom break during this match because he was facing Lucky Ali. And if you've heard me on this show before, you know that we love Lucky Ali, which it was not always that way because he was a heel and he was.
He was so good at it. Though.
He was very good at being a heel, but he was against our favorite Darius Lockhart, and he beat Darius to the point where Darius was no longer in PWX. So he had major heat with us because Darius was our boy, and then so it's so funny how in these last 3 years. He has turned into, he's a huge baby face now. And like, it's so funny because people were mad at him for what he did to Darius. And then he's flipped, but he's too good to ignore. He's just, there are people who train him, have said he's almost like a prodigy. And he works so hard. He was like, sometimes like I was talking to, I don't know if I should say who it is. So
yeah.
I was talking to somebody who trains him and he was like, I got to the building and he was already here because he had like taken a bus from DC and there was nobody to let him into the building. So he just sat outside the building until
Didn't he take a nap or something?
Yeah, I think he was just taking a nap outside the building waiting so he could start training. Like he's just that dedicated.
That's awesome.
So, yeah, Lucky's phenomenal. And he's been on New Japan one other time. It was a match that was on YouTube, I think. And so I'm really glad to see him back in New Japan because he is somebody who I could see being a regular in New Japan, like and strong. Like he's just that good, and I think he deserves the spotlight. So it was really great to see him. He's so charismatic and it's fun to watch. And so we were like, well, if I have to suffer through John Skyler, at least Lucky Ali is here.
Good. I can watch Lucky Ali kick his ass.
Yeah, people were, and it was funny. You could tell this was a crowd who has seen both of them locally because there was like the lone John Skyler fan sitting like behind us and off to the right, and then there was like the Lucky Ali fans. So you could hear beat his ass, John, and we're like, let's go, Lucky. So it was very much a crowd who was familiar with both wrestlers and knew which one was the heel and which one was the baby face, like right out of the gate. And so that was cool to kind of see that. And then I guess the New Japan people got to see, oh, these people really like Lucky and they really do not like John Skyler. And so so that was cool to see. And so that was the first hour. Then hour 2 just started off super hot because they went right in with Rocky Romero versus Dax. And keep in mind, this was hours after Dax's chest was slapped open on Death.
Yeah, I was going to ask because having seen the ROH show and knowing what they went through there, I was like, wow, he's going to go wrestle tomorrow.
Yeah, we were kind of like checking. We were like, well, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if Dax is like, I can't go today. Like, you're going to have to get somebody else to come in because I just went all out last night and I can't do this again. But of course, he came out and that match was really great. The fans were super into it. I think that was probably the loudest they were all night until we got to the very main event.
Pretty sure Cash called him out as I think at some point Cash tweeted, I don't know how he does this, And I was like, that's his partner. So
yeah, it was. And then Rocky he had no mercy on him. He's like, I don't care that you just wrestled last night. I'm gonna you're gonna give me, you're getting full on Rocky Romero. Like you're getting sneaky style and everything. Like and so
people lost it for Dax, and I was just like,
we wore our Revolt shirts. So
we did.
If you know, you know.
Yeah, if you know, you know.
We did this.
Yeah, we got the Revolt. We made sure to get the Revolt hand gesture.
Excellent.
Yeah. I don't know if he saw us, but I was like, he knows what he did.
We've talked about it before. You've explained it to me. So for those of you who know, you know.
Yeah. If you know, you know. There are some articles, but yeah.
And I'm a Rocky Romero fan, so you know.
Yeah, it was a really great match. Like even
it's easy to just cheer for Rocky.
Yeah, and that's what we did. And it is determined not to let this feud in. I did some extra taping last night to see if that would help. It has not. This mic does not want this feud to end. So it has got it ever since Brad said he was going to nominate it for feud of the year.
It's the 31st. All right. So it's the 31st of July. August is tomorrow. Like this has been going on for some time now this year. We've been, 23 of these things. And maybe with the exception of the first couple. So it might be a viable selection.
It really might be.
Plus part of me wants enough of us to vote for it because Dave would put it in the actual, because something gets a tiny amount of votes, he's pretty transparent. So he actually would put it in there. And that would be so cute. I would love it. So
we're going to have to clip this video.
Well, you might not see it today. We'll see. We're still a ways off.
You know what we should do? We should make a video like they do for award shows where they submit actors.
Or for the Heisman to get the Heisman Trophy where you have your highlight reel.
Yeah. And we should go through the episodes and make a little compilation of the microphone. And we can tweet that out and be like, vote for us.
The microphone's essentially cutting a promo on you like the drone did back in the day.
Yeah, exactly.
Totally realistic. Maybe they're related somehow.
They've got to be. Mm-hmm. Gotta be.
What was the drone's name?
Vanguard.
Thank
Vanguard's
you.
Vanguard's dead, though.
Vanguard is dead.
I don't remember what he named it.
Yeah, because Jericho killed it.
And
it with a bat.
Yes, and then it was funny because on AEW with RJ City, he had Matt Hardy on, and Matt was talking about Vanguard
because he asked him about it.
Oh yeah, because RJ had asked if he was in the lake, if he went to the Lake of Reincarnation, who would he be? And he said Dalton Castle, without missing a beat.
And he said, "Oh."
And then they were talking about stuff, and they were talking about Vanguard, and he's like, Jericho killed him, and he's like, I'm still mad at him about it.
Hey, we still have heat.
Yes. Jericho has heat for lots of reasons, and that's just one of them.
Oh my God, don't even get me started.
Yeah, we've had conversation. Oh my God, Rampage.
This week's commentary on both shows, I about wanted to lose it. Anyway.
Me too.
Especially Friday, though.
Yeah,
Holy
Friday
crap.
was the worst.
Worst.
Terrible. Worst.
Oh my
Worst. Yeah.
JR, he has to be stopped. Anyway. Let's get on with your thing.
So
I'm going to remind people that we are spoilering.
We are spoilering
the North Carolina show for New Japan Strong. And
I'm
loving it because I'm excited about the possibility of actually getting to see some of your wrestlers in your
because that's fun. The next match was a normal strong match. It was Big Damo versus Hikuleo. So that was
nice.
That was real good.
That was a really solid match, and we were talking about how Hikuleo is so tall, that you don't have to worry about, because when you take pictures, especially when you're sitting lower down, and we're short, you're short, you know how this works. We take pictures, and it's
I'm having to hold it
rope,
up,
short girl problems up over your head. Yep.
Yeah, I would have had a really good picture of Eddie Kingston, but the rope across his eyes. Like a censorship bar.
Not everyone can have a tall husband as a backup.
Right, exactly.
It's
we were in row 3, but I mean, we still have really good seats and like we could see fine. It was just
it's just hard to get up and get the leverage for the pictures.
That was in her way.
And then there was another guy like this way, so I was
she kept getting blocked.
There
there was a guy in front of me that sometimes I'd have to kind of like lean around him to see what was happening. And I was like, this is why we typically go front row when we can, because we don't have to worry about this shit.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
But sometimes my budget's like, too bad you and your short self are sitting back here.
Sorry, honey, you're GA this time.
But yeah, so Hikuleo we did not have that issue with. And it was, Nikki asked me, she was like, is this big meaty man slapping meat? Because Damo is large, like
huge.
He's like massive. But then Hikuleo has the height difference on him. And so I was like, I mean, I guess it's still a form of big meaty men. It's just a different.
He's got different meat.
Yeah, exactly. It's a different ways. But yeah, so that
sounds inappropriate. But
we're inappropriate. So it doesn't matter.
That's you know what? This is perfect. It's not inappropriate enough. We're still TV-14. You're fine.
But yeah, so that ended up being a really solid match. The fans were really into both of them, which was cool to see. Like, Damo is still really over, even, post WWE.
Even if somebody made a stupid
somebody made a forgot.
There was somebody that was like, you could tell that they were happy that he was there, and then all of a sudden he was like, hey, I like your sweater. Talking about his body hair, and I was like, "What?"
I was like, "We don't."
You were just talking about how we praising him, and now you just body shamed him. So,
wrestling fans are gonna
takes time.
Yeah, it does. And I was like, "Oh, and you're gonna go with that old joke that's been around for like 25 years that we've all heard a million times." But cool.
And you guys were like, "Thanks, JR."
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Yes. But yeah, so that was a really good match that stood out. And then the next match we got was the DKC and Kevin Knight, but they wrestled the Heat Seekers, which is another local tag team. They started out in PWX's rival company AML, and they were like the tag team champions up there. And then I guess they got to the point where there's not much else they could do in AML, so they came to PWX. And they're heels. They're not like, they're just kind of running. Like I don't really care for them one way or another. Like they're just kind of like, they do they're just,
if they do their comedy stuff, they're a little bit more entertaining. But I think they had kind of knocked that down a little bit because Revolt's thing is comedy and they're better at it. So I think they were like, all right, you have to be more serious.
And they went to last year when NWA had the Crockett Cup tag team tournament last year. The Heat Seekers were in it, and I think so they were also trying to be a little bit more serious because of that too. And so because it's NWA and they wanted to be seen like as a more like a threat, I guess, or like a more serious tag team, and not you doing comedy stuff there, but like they did stuff. So last year when they came in to wrestle Revolt, they got Ricky Morton involved.
Nice.
I'm gonna fight that old man.
Yeah, I love Ricky Morton, but I will fight him for what he did. So this man,
I'm still mad about it.
Yeah, he comes in, he gets in on the Heat Seekers' behalf and blows powder in. Was it Zane's eyes? Caleb's eyes. Yes, Caleb used to be with a K. Now he's 50% more C's. That's what he says because he's back to Caleb with the C.
Yes.
Oh my god.
But. So Caleb, he blew the powder in his face and it cost him the match. And
because he did a fucking Canadian destroyer on Caleb. No, Ricky must have been hit with the powder because he couldn't see. And then that's how he hit Caleb with the Canadian destroyer because he didn't see who he was.
Right, because he was the ref. He was the ref, right?
No,
what was he doing? I don't remember.
Sitting outside the ring with fucking Robert.
Yes.
And he got involved for no fucking reason.
Yeah,
and then after he hits the Canadian destroyer on Caleb and they lose
it
the
cost
title,
him the titles because
he stands on the outside of the ring and literally says, "Oh, so it's my fault."
Literally
yes. You just lost them the titles. It is your fault. You total man. So I'm still mad at him for that.
I will enjoy him in other companies, but in PWX, He still has heat with me. And we're going to see him at GCW because he and Kerry...
Watch out for that powder.
God, I know. Him and Kerry Morton and a guy named Axton Ray are wrestling. I think it's Billy Starks, Everett Connors, and Chris Hamrick, who Chris Hamrick was... I know the name, but I'm not super familiar with him, and I'm sure there are people who are watching this and they're like, how are you not familiar with Chris Hamrick? But
because there's a limit, people. Okay, you can only remember so much.
Back then.
We didn't
watch ECW, and I know he's been in other stuff, but people are like really hyped that he's going to be on the card. So I'm looking forward to seeing him. But yeah, so Ricky Morton's probably going to do Ricky Morton things. Hopefully he doesn't
He's going to get fault.
Hopefully Nikki and him are going to have a fight, an unadvertised fight.
Make sure you get it done before the light bulb smashing matches. There, the fuckery begins.
There's plenty of weapons. I'm sure we could find something to use.
Oh, definitely. There. You know what? When in doubt, reach under the ring. There's always something there to help.
Exactly.
You out. Every wrestling ring has something to help you out underneath.
This is true.
We've watched wrestling long enough to know this, at least.
Yeah. I mean, if all else fails, Doug's there in his wheelchair, and I can just like take his wheel off or something. And
Doug will be the weapon himself.
Doug will, especially because he's a Revolt fan too, and he was there for all that. So Doug will, he'll help us get involved in this.
You got a whole plan. You guys are ready to go.
Yeah, Ricky Morton better watch out. Maybe we'll have a feud too, and then I will be involved in 2 feuds of the year. One with the mic.
The impromptu death match that Sam was involved in. She'll have to tell us about.
Yeah, so tune in for the GCW recap next month. It's
going to be a lot of fun.
Yes. So back to that match. The whole point was the Heat Seekers, but yeah. So the Heat Seekers did get in some comedy stuff.
It was more towards the end.
It was weird.
Well, I mean, it's not a surprise that they lost, but Elliot like weirdly flung himself into. Elliot's very tall, and he weirdly like flung himself into the ring after the to like help
Sigmund.
Yeah, I was like, what's that dude's name?
Sigmund is his tag team partner.
Yeah, and oh, by the way, this one dude once was calling him D Malenko like it was a bad thing.
Yeah, somebody was trying to insult Sigmund, and they were like,
I was like, that is not an insult. I was like, that would be a really good thing.
Yeah, I think Sigmund was pretty much like, okay.
There's a lot of idiots out there.
There are a lot of idiots on the internet, but yeah.
But yeah, he like weirdly like flung himself into the ring, and I was like, okay, that made me laugh.
Hopefully they'll keep that in there. They won't edit that out because that was funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we got so then we got QT Marshall.
Oh, hey, your
that
favorite
was like,
person.
Oh, I remember what I said about
he
that.
was unadvertised because we get the Nightmare Factory, and we're like, ooh.
Oh, it's like maybe Colorado is coming.
Should have known better. It was damn QT Marshall.
Only QT. I was hoping somebody would with.
Yeah, it was just QT, him. And he was coming to be QT and run his damn mouth, and I was like,
I told Samantha, I said, I was like, Samantha's to get ready to get in the ring and throat punch him for his comments about women's wrestling and why they have short time matches and why there's less women's matches. I was like,
I'm gonna fight this man. I'm gonna be in multiple feuds.
I remember that.
Yes.
And I was like, he better watch it, protect his neck, because
I'm gonna throat punch him.
No, they're all I don't see women. I see all wrestlers. Sam.
Yeah. Isn't that the point? Is that you just see them as wrestlers? Quit. You're copping out. I'm gonna fight you.
Stop. Just make him stop.
Yeah. So he brought in a guy. He claimed I think he tried to claim he was a local guy, but I've never heard of him.
Yeah, I don't know who that is.
I assume he's a factory student, probably. His name was Parker Lee, and our friend Doug texted us and was like, I looked him up and I can't find him. And we're not sure if it's Parker Lee, Lee, or maybe it's Li, because he looks like he's of Asian descent. So I'm not sure if that, but I don't know, or if they gave him the name Parker Lee just for this match, because maybe in the factory he wrestles under his shoot name or something. I don't know. He was good.
Yeah, he was really good.
QT did a good job picking him. I don't know. Again, I don't know where he came from. I'd never heard of him. Maybe he does wrestle locally, and I've just somehow missed it and don't know who he is. But my guess is he was probably a factory student that they just called up. So he, of course. Of course QT gets the win, because why not? Well, then he's running his mouth about how nobody can, I don't know, something about nobody can face him, or I don't know, some whatever QT bullshit he was doing. Then we get
whatever is getting his.
So if you're still watching this, you're about to get spoiled.
Big spoiler.
The big spoiler.
Oh, hang on, wait.
Sorry.
Big spoiler.
Yes, big spoiler, because the music hit, and Nikki and I
we're watching like the video, and you see the last name pop up and then the first name pop up, and me and Samantha were fucking losing it.
We were losing our mind. It was
it
was Shooter. And because Shooter was not advertised, QT was not advertised. So Nikki and I were like,
when we get super excited about shit, we smack the shit out of each other.
Yeah.
We're like, do you fucking see what I see?
Yeah.
I'm standing right next to you.
Yeah, exactly. We were losing it, because at first, like she said, it was just his name. And then we were like, I was like, are we getting swerved? Because last year at Fight for the Fallen, after Nick Gage wrestled Jericho, MJF was like, your next person is going to be Juventud Guerrero. And I was like, is the juice here?
Yeah.
I was out of my chair.
I did too. Because I thought that's like,
I was sitting I did media for that show, and then it turns out you don't get scrums after that. So I was sitting by myself in the media section, and Nikki was like sitting with some friends, and our other friends.
No one to beat on.
Yes, exactly. No one to beat on. So our friends were like scattered. And so I was like standing up, and I was like, "Oh my God, we're getting
I stood up because I thought he was there." Well, it was like with Nick Gage when he announced, Nick Gage came out
exactly. So
I thought when he said
no, got punked, and he was not there. So that's why I was like, "Is Shooter really here?"
And then we
getting his name.
We sadly sat down after we realized that Hoovy was not there.
Yeah, I was very sad that Hoovy was not there, but yeah. But we did get Shooter.
Yeah. We get a happy ending at least.
We did. And so I did tweet a picture of, because I wasn't sure if I should tweet the spoiler or not, because I was like, do I want to tweet this and spoil who's here? And so I just tweeted the picture of his back and his hair, because I was like,
smart.
Yes, that's exactly who you think it is. And so we did not get to see him wrestle. This is a future. I know he was in Nashville yesterday. I know he had a match for the New Japan Mayhem show. I don't think the QT thing happened. I think that's going to be at the Hollywood tapings. That's their next set of tapings. They're back in Hollywood. So I assume it's going to happen there, but I was still just excited to see Shooter. I wish I had got to see him wrestle. However, I got to see him in the ring, and that was good enough for now.
One of our friends, he had to either pick between New Japan and GCW, and he's been watching GCW like way more than we do. So he was like, man, I think I have to go GCW on this one. And I was like, I get it. And so we were texting, and we were like shouting that Shooter was in the wait. And then at the same time, me and Samantha sent a picture of Shooter. So it was like,
and it was almost the exact same pose. And then our friend Doug sent Shooter from his point of view. So it was like the profile. And so he and our other friend in the group text, they got 3 pictures of Shooter in a row.
And and then a little while later he messaged us and was like, man, who did he wrestle? He was like, who did he replace? I was like, fucking nobody. I was like, QT. He was like, why was QT there? I was like, QT's been showing up. Like, you would know that if you watch Strong.
If you would watch Strong, you know that QT just keeps randomly showing up.
And
ruining my day.
He keeps randomly showing up, and he will not stop.
It's like John Scholar can't get rid of this motherfucker.
He's just always there.
Like,
so yeah, that match is coming. I was like, listen, QT is a solid wrestler, but why the hell does he get to wrestle Shooter? Like, why is this a thing? Why is Shooter? Yeah. Shooter could wrestle literally anybody else on that roster. Why is it QT?
I don't know. I don't know.
I'm sure it will be a solid match. I'm sure QT will do fine. I just don't understand why Shooter could wrestle literally anybody. Like, he could wrestle Fred Rosser for the title or something. Like, why? Yeah. I mean, maybe
they're building him up for something.
Yeah, I was say maybe we'll eventually get to that. I just don't know why you start with QT, but that's what they're doing.
I mean, whatever.
Yeah.
It is what it is. Maybe there's a deal somewhere that we don't know about.
Maybe so. So then
that's what I'm gonna tell myself so I can sleep at night.
Right. So then we got an actual match. And it was Mascara Dorada versus TJP.
Cool.
Yeah. It was solid. We're not TJP fans.
Okay.
We do not like him for multiple reasons. But Mascara Dorada, I know we've talked about this before, but if you don't keep up with Strong, that is the former Grand Metalik. And so he's still amazing. And
his jacket was shining as
It was very sequiny. You will see. I will post pictures of it. I got pictures of
Me too.
I will post the sequins on our Instagram.
There we go.
Come follow us on Instagram and I will show you his sparkly jacket. I mean, it was a solid match.
We keep things pretty simple. You can basically find us with Powerbombshells basically everywhere. So.
Apparently my mic would like to be featured as well.
Yeah,
of course. It wants to know why it's not on Powerbombshells Instagram.
It wants a sequins jacket.
You don't get one. But yeah, so that was a solid. And this match was kind of like, the timing of this was a little weird because I thought we were going into hour 3, but then they did a 10-minute intermission. So I don't know quite how this is going to show up once it gets to TV.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so you'll see that. But then, so during the intermission, we stopped and talked to Doug for a minute, and then we went to the bathroom. So we were in the bathroom when the next match was getting ready to start. We were like, damn it. So we missed it.
It's not like PWX where you got time.
Right. No, we did not have time. Like, we had, the music started getting louder. And so I guess that was their hint that intermission was about to end. But they were like, you get a 10-minute intermission. But they didn't say, the show's about to start. The music just started getting loud. And we were like, well, we're going to the bathroom. So we missed the entrances, but we got to the ring as... we got to our seats right before they got to before them. I guess Fred Rosser was already in the ring, but we got Fred versus Fred. We got Fred Yehi versus Fred Rosser, and there was this guy in the audience who was he liked Fred Rosser, but he was clearly a Fred Yehi fan. He was rooting for Fred the whole time, and then he yells out, "You can block the hate, but you can't block these hands."
That's the greatest thing I've ever heard.
Nikki and I were cackling. Like, it was so... I don't know how Fred Rosser did not just bust out laughing, because I know he had to have heard it.
That's fantastic.
That dude was loud. He was on our road, right?
He was in our road, but he was one of the fans who was not obnoxious with what he was saying.
Right. He was really funny and interesting.
And he didn't do it the whole time. Like, he knew when to back off and not.
Yeah.
Not like, oh, I got some laughs, so let me keep rambling.
Yeah, right.
Like, he was just you can tell he's one of those naturally funny people. Like, he doesn't do it for attention. Like, it just comes out. And I guess it was his wife that was with him, and a few times she was just shaking her head like, this is what I deal with all the time. This is always what I hear. But yeah, so that. That line, and so now, I will randomly just be like,
"That's amazing."
You can't block these hands.
You should make that in the bio of the Powerbombshells.
I'm gonna change the power.
That's our bio.
It's our new bio.
I do not object. That's fantastic.
Ricky Morton can't block these hands that are coming for him.
There you go.
QT Marshall ain't gonna block no hands either. This microphone is gonna get these hands too.
Well, I mean, geez. You guys you have a pretty good lineup for your bookings.
We do.
But
yeah, so Fred Yehi versus Fred Rosser was a really good match. Fred Rosser did retain. And so another spoiler, somebody did come out to challenge him at he's challenging him at the Hollywood tapings. And so
If you can't see the disdain,
it was TJP, and we were like, why is it TJP? And so this man, this is so. It's not the same guy.
We're trying to talk about our disdain for TJP.
Mike is like, did you disdain me more?
Your mic must be part of the warehouse.
Are you? Yeah. Are you a plant from United Empire? Will Osprey send you?
I'll fight him too.
Oh my god.
Or the warehouse, the factory. I don't know what I'm talking about. It's a factory plant.
It is a factory plant.
It is.
So TJP starts talking, and this man, not the guy from our row, this is a man in a different section. Yeah. He yells something about how he needs to get vaccinated because TJP is famously anti-vax.
Oh, good.
He is also a flat earther. So he yells, the earth is not flat. And then he yells, you deserve this ridicule.
He did deserve it.
Oh my god.
People were dying.
We were like the first one we all like laughed at. Then the second one, like they're gonna have to edit it out because TJP's like answering he's challenging Fred Rosser. It's quiet. It's clearly gonna get picked up on the camera. Then it's gonna get picked up that everybody was laughing. And that they laughed all 3 times. Like they're probably whoever edits the show is probably gonna be pissed because they're like,
God damn these Americans.
Yeah, they're like, what? This is serious. This is a challenge for the title. Well, TJP does deserve it.
With any luck, it's they get a bad translator and it ends up staying on the video.
Oh God, yeah,
because they don't understand the context. I mean,
yeah, somebody brought
that works both ways. So, I mean,
you might have had to go to the editor and be like, please edit this out. We can't have this man. This man's out here challenging for the title and the fans are clowning him.
He fucking deserves it.
Not taking him seriously one bit. And so TJP like finishes what he said. Somehow Fred Rosser got through it. He didn't break character. But then, like, after it was over and TJP had left the ring, he kind of, like, made a gesture to that section. Like, he kind of pointed, like, he was acknowledging, like, that he heard it, and he just had to stay in character.
I mean, I was like, there is no way they wouldn't have been able to hear it. I was like...
Yeah, because the arena's not giant by any means, so, like, there's no, like Nikki said, there's no way they didn't hear it. Like,
nice.
Ian Riccaboni had to have heard it. Alex Kozlov had to have heard it. Like, it was, I'm sure they just ignored it and just kept talking. But yeah, it was really funny. And I was just like, well, this is so, I was like, clearly the fans in Charlotte do not like TJP either. So,
well, there you go.
Yeah. But, so that was fun. But then we started getting to like the really great, not that the card was solid all show long, but then like the last 4 matches were like basically what we were there for. So we get our boys, the Workhorsemen.
Oh, that's right. You guys got,
So the night before, if you watched 0 Hour, which is the Death Before Dishonor pre-show, then you will have seen that Anthony Henry wrestled Colt Cabana.
Boom,
and
boom.
Yes, boom, boom, Colt Cabana. Mm-hmm. And so Anthony came out. Drake was with him, got involved a little bit. They have new gear now. They have matching gear. So I'm hoping that's a sign that maybe ROH has signed them. Mm-hmm. Maybe that's why they got the new matching gear. And now they've got matching hoodies too. And their logo looks really nice.
Mm-hmm. I wondered if James makes gear, so I was wondering if he at
High Spots James Drake makes gear, and so he's made gear for some that we've seen on TV. Like he's actually, I know Suge, who a lot of you know as Pineapple Pete. I know he's made like a couple of his gear for TV. And so, but from what I hear, James Drake has a reputation for making really nice gear, and that people really enjoy his work. So, like Nikki said, we wonder if he did their new gear because their new gear,
awesome.
It looks great. And so they wrestled Ren Narita and Kushida, And so I was, like I said last week, if you watched the show, you knew I was really hyped for this match because Work Horsemen are our boys, but I love Kushida. Not that I don't love Ren Narita, because I do.
He's great.
But Kushida is one of my favorites. So I was all about this match. And the fans were super, because where it's at, they were really behind the Work Horsemen all match long. I think even had Work Horsemen not been from the area or wrestled here local, a lot, because Anthony Henry's actually from Georgia, but he wrestles here a lot, and they've wrestled as opponents and tag teams, and Anthony Henry was champion in PWX for a year, so the local fans are very familiar with him. I think even had they not had that history here, I think the fans would have just really been into it, because it was a phenomenal match. Like they looked great, and this was the debut for both of them, right? Because I don't think Drake or Henry has wrestled in New Japan before. I'm almost positive this was the debut for both of them.
I think so. But I can't remember for sure.
Yeah, I'm almost positive. So this, and then of
Drake
course,
can just tweet us and let us know.
But Kushida, of course, looked fantastic, and he looks so happy to be back in New Japan. And he and Ren, they worked really well together. There was a few times when where Work Horsemen just were all on Ren Narita, and Kushida's like, I was like, it's not a young lion anymore, but he still was giving him like, I'm the veteran here, so you're going to have to deal with them, and they're just going to have to beat your ass for a little bit, and you're just going to have to deal with it. But that was probably, well, I was going to say it's probably my favorite match on the card, but the main event was really good. I don't know. It was a fantastic match. I'm so excited for fans to get to see, who are not familiar with Work Horsemen, to get to see them, especially in a match like this where they get more time. Because, of course, they've been in AEW, but those have been on the shorter side. So they're really going to be able to see what it is that Work Horsemen does. And so I can't wait for people to see this. So this will definitely be a match where we will be hyping it on Twitter when it's going to air. And we'll definitely, of course, have the pictures on the Instagram. So then they followed that match with Eddie Kingston versus Jake something.
Oh man.
Yeah. that was a really good match. I was gonna say the fans were really into Eddie Kingston, but there was a guy in the front row who, when Eddie's music hit, I can't remember what he said, but he basically let it be known he is not an Eddie Kingston fan. And I was like,
why are you here?
I was like, sir, you are entitled to your very wrong opinion, but geez. What is wrong with you?
I was going to say, Eddie got a pretty big pop, but I don't know if it was bigger than Dax.
No, I think Dax got probably the biggest pop.
Ew. He knows.
Well, and he's also from Asheville, which is like 4 hours away. So like that's another reason. And then on top of everything else. But yeah. But Eddie got a pretty big pop. The fans, obviously, they love Eddie Kingston. Y'all, if you've watched the show, you know we love Eddie Kingston.
Yes.
We really love him.
We're Eddie Kingston fans. And I like Jake something. Jake is really good.
I do too.
And I enjoyed him when he was at Impact. He's been in ROH some. He's been on Dark some as well. So I'm hoping they'll utilize him more.
I've seen him on Impact, so.
Yeah. He's really good.
Yeah,
and so the
that's
fans,
where I've seen the bulk of what I've seen of him has been the Impact tape shows that I've seen him on.
Right.
So. But he's great. He seems fine.
Yeah, so that was a really fun match. The fans are really into that too.
Well, people were they were kind of disrespecting Jake something a little bit. I was like, I mean, I understand your love for Eddie Kingston because I love him too, but don't act like Jake something's not a good wrestler though.
This is true.
Like,
this is true. They were both, yeah.
I was like, I need y'all to settle down.
Listen, we know that there are Jakes, and it's funny, there's a group of, they're on Twitter, they're the Jake something girlies, and I guess they're just female fans of Jake something.
He's got groupies, congratulations.
Yeah, they call themselves the Jake something girlies, and they were talking about him the other day, so I was like, I'll have to remember when I tweet these pictures out, I'll have to make sure I put for the Jake something girlies so that they see it. But yeah, that was a really good match as well. And then we got the tag team tournament finals. Again, spoiler alert, if you are keeping up with the tag team tournament, yes. So if you're keeping up with the tag team tournament, I think I haven't watched Strong the last 2 weeks, so I think they might have moved into the semifinals last week. because when they filmed these, this was the only match from the tournament. So I think, depending on when this airs, like the tournament is getting ready to end. And so the tournament, the finals was Christopher Daniels and Uemura versus Aussie Open.
Let me just say real quick that when Uemura, when they announced his name, he fucking like puffed his hair.
Yeah, he like flung his head.
Nice.
And he was like,
yeah, it was almost like it was like, you know, like when a peacock like
that's what I was gonna say.
Peacock spreads.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so
I was gonna say
it was kind of like that
when a bird like puffs itself.
Yeah, Uemura was like not backing down, and like the fans were really they both got really good pops. I think the fans were like really they love Christopher Daniels and they love Uemura, which understandably so.
So when you watch that match, pay attention to when they're announcing his name. So
because he's like in the ring and he was it was great.
Well, it worked for Tanahashi for all these years. I mean, why would you not?
Exactly. He knows the power of hair.
He has great hair too.
He does.
And
we also got go ahead.
Oh, sorry, go.
I was gonna say we also for this we got Tiger Hattori was there to he was on hand to help present the tag team titles. Nice. So at the beginning he was there with it was the ref, right? I think the ref is the other one who had it, and so they presented like they showed the titles, and then again they came out at the end to present the winners. But yeah, this match was a straight up banger. Like this match was really good. And like I had some exposure to Aussie Open prior to them being in New Japan, and one of our friends who's in our text group, Kiefer, is a huge Aussie Open fan, and so he was like, I wish they weren't involved with Will Ospreay and TJP, but I'm glad I get to see them in New Japan. And so this match was really good, and it was just because it was, I guess, also because it was a title match, and it was just they went all out, like all four of them just killed it. And Aussie.
Oh, you need to ask your question that we keep asking about Christopher Daniels.
Poor Christopher Daniels, you know his eye. I don't know why this is a thing that I've gotten. Now it's a joke because I say it all the time. But I'm always like, is his eye always gonna look like that? Like, is he ever like? I feel so bad for him because his eye looks like it hasn't. I mean, as a wrestler, it looks cool because it's kind of intimidating, kind of cool, but I'm sure in everyday life people are probably like, what is happening with this man's eye? And so I didn't realize how often I asked it, and Nikki
was like the last couple of weeks she had asked it like 5 times.
I don't know why.
Girl, I don't know this man.
So now it's become a joke that so when he came out there I was like, Christopher Daniels, is your eye always gonna look like that? So now that's our thing. But yes. So now we can get to who won this match. And so Aussie Open are the inaugural New Japan Tag Team Champions, which when they were announced for the tournament, I figured that was who was going to win. But it makes the most sense. I would have liked to see it be Christopher Daniels and Uemura, but we talked about this. You know, this match was originally supposed to be Christopher Daniels and Carl Fredericks, and then for whatever reason it was not. We won't get into that speculation here, but so they put in Uemura, and the fans, they work really well together, and the fans are really into both of them. Like I've noticed even on the shows like leading up to the first match they had, the fans were really into them. So I think that I don't know, Christopher Daniels also, I don't know like what his schedule is like. Obviously he does backstage stuff with AEW, so I don't know if he could even commit to doing a tag team run.
He does HR. He has things to do.
Yeah, he has to show up menacingly or ominously in BTE to remind people to sign their paperwork. So he has quite the full schedule.
He has the schedule.
And occasionally he shows up in Impact and has some banger matches over
there.
Right.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Yeah. So Christopher Daniels
gets around.
Yeah,
he's a busy guy.
He does, and he's quite the busy man. But, Aussie Open, I think, obviously just solidifies more, obviously, with what United Open is doing. That's their big, because TJP has the IWGP Junior Heavyweight title with Akira. So he had that title out. He's he's challenging Fred Rosser for the title coming up. And so I think it's just it was also kind of just solidifying, what United Empire and their impact in New Japan. And not that Aussie Open didn't deserve it, because they're a phenomenal tag team. And I think that was the right call. And I look forward to seeing them wrestle. And so I'm wondering, I was gonna say, I'm wondering if they'll take it to Japan, but Tom Lawler never took the strong title to Japan. So I mean, this is his first entrance into it. So I don't know. I don't know if Aussie Open will be the first one to kind of, if they'll take it and defend it at all in Japan, or if this will be a strictly strong show. There's definitely plenty that they could do within strong. I think I assume one of the first challengers will probably be TMDK, because that's probably the second. If Aussie Open is like the number one tag team, then I think TMDK is like right underneath them. And then of course there's people from Team Filthy that can challenge. And so I think they've got enough that they can do. And they do like to bring in other tag teams. If you're listening to this somehow, Rocky Romero, please book Workhorsemen versus Aussie Open.
That's what I was gonna say.
Please make that happen. I would love to see it.
And book Revolt, because I want Revolt in all of the matches.
Yes, that too.
I volunteer things for them all the time. I don't give a shit. I don't care if you want to do this or not. You're gonna do it.
So after that awesome match, we didn't really have time to catch our breath, because they went right into the main event, which originally was going to have our boy Clark Connors in it. I was looking forward to the Bighorn energy, but unfortunately he's having some back issues. He's having some, apparently this is ongoing issues that I think he said had for like 8 years.
I'm hearing too.
So obviously we would rather him be healthy and get healthy.
Yeah.
I have almost the same exact issue as him. So I was like, I feel you, dog. He was like, yes. I can usually push through. I was like, no, you just described some stuff and I know what you're feeling. So don't.
Please
don't push through. Take care of yourself. Yeah, exactly. Get better.
And we talked about it on last week's show. Like, the timing is terrible. I mean, timing's never good, but I mean, he was really looking forward to this match because it was Haramu, and then it was supposed to be just Haramu, and then they added Despy to it. And then at the Nashville show, he was supposed to wrestle Davey Richards, and I know he was looking forward to both of those. So, but we got a really good replacement. We got Blake Christian to take his place.
Nice.
Blake got a really good reception, and then Haramu came out with Daryl, and he put Daryl on.
Well, he came out first, and then you see him slip back through the thing, and he comes out and has like Daryl in his head.
Yeah,
and I was like,
so he took Daryl over to commentary with Ian and Alex, and he put the headphones on Daryl. So Daryl could be on commentary.
I have a picture of Daryl on commentary.
That's pretty funny.
I got a picture of him. And then a friend of mine, she went to the Nashville show yesterday, and Daryl was on commentary yesterday.
Excellent. That's a big pay-per-view. So.
Yes. So, and they had on commentary, they had Ian and Matthew Raywalt on their commentary. And so then they got Daryl as well. So Daryl is quite the busy kitty.
He is getting pretty good at that.
He is. And so the fans were super into this. So like they were cheering for they were kind of going back more. They were cheering for El Desperado and also Haramu. But then somebody started the all heart chant because Blake is just standing there, and I'm like, well, but Blake Christian's really good. So we got the really loud all heart. So then we were just chanting for all three of them, and like they couldn't get the match started because the fans were, which I'm sure for Haramu and Desperado, where they haven't really had fan chant. Sure, they were just soaking it all in, and we're like, please cheer as long as you want to. Yeah. And then it was funny. I don't know if they'll include this or if they will cut this out.
I know. I was like, I wanted to be there, but then I was like, damn, they'll probably cut it out.
So Jeremy Marcus was the referee, and somehow they started cheering for him. And then they were joking about how to make it a tag match. So then they were pretending like he was going to be, or no, it was going to be a 4-way.
Yeah,
they
it
were
was a 4-way.
They were chanting Fatal 4-way. And so Jeremy was like, me? And so that went on for a few minutes. The crowd was like just hyping them up. And then they said maybe it was a tag match. And so then they acted like they were going to put Jeremy and like call another referee out. So it was, the fans really had a fun with it. And they did too. They played into it really well. There obviously wasn't much of a language barrier with that. Like they realized what was happening. And so it was really cool to see. Like I said, I don't know if they'll leave that in or if they'll cut that out for the show itself. And so maybe that was just the thing that the crowd got to see, but it was a lot of fun. So then the match would have been fun anyway, but I think because the crowd was so into it and kind of hyping them up in the beginning. And so throughout the match, they were they all three were getting equal chants, like all match long. It was a really, really good match. It was
right on.
It was a New Japan match. Like they just, because obviously, Hiramu and Dusty have such great chemistry in the ring anyway. But having Blake Christian involved in that, like it didn't take away from anything. He stepped right up and, he looked great. He fit in with them really well. It was a really, really good match. And it delivered, which is what we expected. And I didn't write down, but I think Dusty won this match, right? Yeah. So
because we thought that Hiramu was going to win.
That's right.
We were kind of like, oh, Dusty won.
Yeah,
I didn't care who won. But
yeah, we were fans. But then, so Blake left, and then sad Hiramu went and got Daryl off commentary and moped to the back. But Desperado cut a promo and he spoke a little bit in English, and he was just like, basically was like, I hope you can understand me. And he was just talking about like the fans and how great it was to be there. And so, and he was like, thank you for supporting me. And it was really nice little send home, for the fans. And so it was a really good show. Like there was not one thing that I don't think there was one match that I didn't like. Like everything was, even with wrestlers that I don't care for, like the matches were still good or solid. And so it was a really good show. And so if you get the chance to go to a New Japan Strong show, again, if you are not watching New Japan Strong, do it. It's Saturday nights at 8:00. Even if you don't watch it right at 8, it's there on World. Again, we've talked about this before, it's not an ad. We just really like what they're doing.
We love the show. It's a lot of fun. It's a great hour. It's 3 matches every week. It's kind of the same formula as far as 3 matches that they do, 2 matches, a little intermission, like where they pop up the New Japan stuff, and then the main event. And so it's always really fun, and it's a quick hour. Usually it goes by really fast. There's always like unexpected bangers. Like you'll see matches of like, oh, this will be good, and then it ends up being way better than you even expected, and that happens all the time. And I think people will see that with these 4 tapings. They're just some really solid matches on here that, or just like I said, like the tag team match was amazing. For the titles, that was amazing. Workhorses versus Ren Narita and Kushida was phenomenal. And Eddie versus Jake something was really good. The main event was amazing. So like even and then the earlier hours, like there was just solid stuff throughout the show. So like I would highly recommend checking all of those out. I'm just glad you guys like had fun, that it was well presented, and that you got, it's nice to get your money's worth. It's nice to get the feel of something, and it's something that you enjoy. So
the only drawback was we didn't get any meet and greets, which was kind of disappointing, and especially because yesterday I was looking at the Mayhem stuff, and I was like, man, they got meet and greets. They got to meet Ramu and stuff. But I mean, other than that, like, and I understand, they've been really well about protecting the wrestlers and trying to keep them healthy and things like that. So I totally get it. But yeah, I mean, and it was worth it just to be able to see them all. And then after the show, we were talking to somebody and happened to turn around, and Shooter was out and there's somebody that I guess he was familiar with or he knew, and I don't know if they got pictures. I saw them hug. So it was just like a really brief interaction, and Jake something came out and he was talking to this girl and I guess her boyfriend that were in the front row. Like he came out and talked to them. So we did see a couple of things like that, which was cool to see. And then they were trying to kick us out. This isn't like a PWX show where we can just stand around and talk to people for as long as we want. So we were actually talking to Brian, the owner of PWX, just kind of catching up because we haven't seen him because there's been no shows. And so he was like, well, walk with me. And I saw JD Drake like on the way out, and I was wanting to talk to him, but Brian was like guiding us out. So he was walking and talking with us basically so they didn't kick us out, but so he can still talk to us for a minute. And so I messaged JD later and told him that, you know, his match was great and the fans were really, him and Anthony looked phenomenal. The fans seemed really into it. And so I was like, hopefully that means that you guys will be in New Japan more, because I think the fans really, I think helped it. Like, I think New Japan can hear that there's an interest in them. So hopefully they'll bring them back. But it was a really fun show. So y'all, if you're not watching Strong Now, I don't know exactly when those shows will start because they've been finishing up the last set of tapings. So I don't know if this week's show will be when it starts or if it'll be like a couple of more weeks. But I'm sure we'll
let you know.
Believe me, I will let you know, and we'll post. I'm going to try to keep posting some pictures on Instagram. The plan, like I said, the plan is to post pictures as they're scheduled for the week. Like, so we'll get them in there, and I guess I don't know if I'll spoil it and put the shooter pictures, or I guess I'll wait till I
put a warning.
Put up our spoiler picture.
Yeah, have it like.
I think you can mark content as spoilery, but you know. Whatever. Yeah. We've warned people plenty. If you know to go look on our thingy right now to do that, then that's fine.
Yeah.
There's also a million other ways to get spoiled on this stuff. So
yeah, definitely.
I wouldn't. Yeah, because don't blame me. I didn't do it.
I considered tweeting spoilers just because, and like there's somebody that I follow and he will go to New Japan tapings and he always tweets out like what the matches are and who wins and posts pictures, which I don't have an issue with. And so I was just, because I considered it, but then I was like, well, I guess I'll just wait because we're going to talk about it on the show anyway. And then we'll just figure out.
You can decide what you want to spoil out.
Yeah. Well, and that's why I really was not sure with the shooter stuff. And then that I had the picture of his back when he was getting out of the ring. And I was like, I'll just go with that one because people will probably be, if they see it, they should probably figure out who it is. It is not Tanahashi. He's in the G1. Shooter has great hair. It's not Tanahashi though.
Not Tanahashi hair.
No, nobody has Tanahashi hair. Which I guess leads us into the next set of spoilers.
Yeah, I was gonna say. So thank you guys for sharing your experience. So it sounds like it was a lot of fun.
It was a lot of fun.
We're getting close to the end here, but we are going to give you guys a quick overrun of something else that has spoilers. We're going to talk about the G1
or the Gene one.
The Gene one.
The Gene one when Tom Lawler is involved.
We'll keep it Jort, but
Jort one.
We are going to talk about it just a little bit because I think you're caught up. I'm almost.
The only thing we haven't watched. We finished night 8 last night, so we have not watched the matches that aired this morning. For us, which would be night 9. So we will probably get to that tonight, most likely. But this has been a really solid G1 so far. They've had some really good matches. I do have a list, which I know we were saying we weren't going to talk about all of them, but then I know you are at night 5, correct?
Yes, and I just watched me some. I just finished the ELP, the Phantasmo Yujiro match is what I got up to, which was a freaking great match, and I highly recommend it. And I don't mind myself being spoiled because again, I'm keeping up with a lot of this, and I'm watching what I want to watch and kind of scrolling through because. It is what it is. It's a lot of wrestling to take in.
And it looks like they are putting up individual matches finally, but they're taking a very long time to do it. Like we were on like night 3 or 4 and noticed they started putting up matches from night 1. And we were like,
I know they're making some of it free, and I do appreciate they're doing that. Yeah. Hopefully they'll pick up some new subscribers. That's never a bad thing.
I think so. Yeah, so
especially after they've done joint events with AEW and they're carrying AEW on their network, so hopefully people will kind of get the hint on that stuff. But
so I think there's been some really great matches like Okada versus Cobb and Jay White versus Sonata and and then Jonah versus Yano, because
Jonah versus Yano was so much freaking fun.
It was. And I saw, before I had seen the show, I saw someone say that Jonah got Yano'd, and they were like, if it's your first time in the G1, you're probably gonna get Yano'd. Which I think is the best way to phrase it. And he did get Yano'd. It was really good, and it was fun. And poor Jonah. And then Jonah was talking about
these freaking monitors continue to be a problem for Kevin Kelly.
Cannot get those monitors repaired.
They just can't seem to get them right. I don't know what the problem is.
But. And then I do want to make a quick note about another Yano match. Yano faced Okada night 4 and was a very different Yano. It was apparently the Yano, a little bit of the Yano from before we saw him, because Yano, when we started watching New Japan, I believe when you started watching New Japan too, Yano was comedic Yano. We had heard that he had been a serious wrestler.
Serious heel,
and then all of a sudden he just decided he was doing comedy wrestling and killing that. And and I enjoy it. But this match with Okada was definitely a surprise. I tweeted and said it was a violent and angry match.
Yeah.
It was a lot different than what I expected. But I think Okada was the right person to do it with, because I had already thought about it. And then Stephen Conway saw me tweeting about it, and we talked about it as well, because he saw the previous Yano and prefers that Yano. And he was like, it seemed like it was storyline respect for Okada, which is what I thought too. It was just like, even though Okada is no longer the champion, Okada is the guy. Like, he is the face of New Japan, and he was very respectful of him. Like, he didn't try the hijinks. I mean, they've wrestled each other before, and he has done the Yano hijinks, but here he did not. It was a very different type of match for Yano, but it worked. Like, I thought it was this. I guess if he's going to do that, then maybe the G1 is the place to do that, because the G1 is so prestigious. We typically see very good matches all tournament long. So I think this was the appropriate place for it. And Okada did get the win. But I think he respected Yano a little bit more for the match that he gave him.
And I actually had that one on my list of sort of standout matches as well, where I was like, wow, this was different.
It was
in a good way. I really enjoyed it.
In a very good way. It was nice. And I think that maybe with the way Yano is now, maybe this is something he can do, where every once in a while he touches back to, this is who I used to be, and this is why people feared me. And I'm not just this comedic wrestler. Like, that Yano is still here, and I can tap into that when I need to, which was cool to see. But then Yano has been right back to, I don't like that Yano. I do not want to see against Tom Lawler. I want to see comedic,
real Yano, like the Yano that we've come to love and know and love over the last few years.
I want that versus Filthy Tom.
Our version of Yano.
And that match is coming soon. I didn't hear them say what night, but after last night, the Tom Lawler wrestled last night, I heard that his next opponent will be Yano. I didn't hear them say what day, but it's coming up this week, I believe. So that is the match that I have been waiting for. Of all of the matches that are happening in this tournament, that is the one.
It's going to be an interesting match.
Besides Juice versus Finley, which I wanted to see, because, if you've watched this show, you know that I'm a Finn Juice fan. I'm wearing I don't have
let me just point out that this is the shirt that I found.
She did.
And I let her have it.
She did.
But it's okay.
Sisterly love right there.
I got that at Connor's shirt.
That's okay. I love that shirt. I have that shirt myself, so.
But so this was the match that I was really looking forward to, just because I love Finn Juice, and so I wanted to see what would happen. And I think this is a really great tournament for Finley to remind people that he is a great solo wrestler. Like, he doesn't have to rely on Juice to be good at what he does. And you will see that again when you get to night 8, because Finley versus Shingo was a banger. It was a banger. Like, I was like not, a
good match.
I was
Shingo's
not
been
prepared.
Wrestling like a monster. So
he's on a mission. Well, because you see, so if you have seen Finley versus Juice, you know that Finley he got the win, but he did kind of pull some Bullet Club-like tactics. He used the shillelagh, but also Juice pushed him to that point, I think, and he was just fed up. And they kept talking about on commentary how like Jay screwed him. Juice has turned his back on him. So Finley is like, he feels like he can't trust anybody. And he's having to go this path by himself. And so he took Juice's because he lost that title, or he had to forfeit the title because of the appendix issue that he was having. And so he has retained the belt, but now it is in Finley's hands, and Will Ospreay is the current champion. And so Finley keeps on Ospreay, you're going to have to come pry this out of my hands. And so
I do kind of like the whole, Will Ospreay is technically the U.S. champion, but everybody else has the belt right now.
Yeah.
It's just kind of a funny thing that's going on there. It's like, yeah, you want the belt? You're going to have to come get it, jerk.
Yeah, so that was, so now we're seeing like a different side of Finley, which I think Finley needs. But this match with Shingo, like Nikki said, was a banger. I did not expect it to go the way that it did. Finley snuck out the win. Like, nice. After he kicked out of the Made in Japan, which was huge. And then he capitalized on it and he won. And Shingo could not believe, like, he was in disbelief. Like, he kept telling Red Shoes, he was like 2, and Red Shoes was like, no, 3. And like Shingo was like, and he was like, I can't believe that this happened. Like, how did David Finley, the C Block champion from 2 years ago, beat me? And it was just, and it was a really great match. Like, I wasn't expecting it to go that way. Then Finley had the belt. He was talking to the camera and he told Ospreay, to come. He dares him to come take it from him. And yeah, so that match is going to end up being. But it was interesting. Shingo faces Ospreay first, and so Shingo's next opponent is Ospreay, but Finley's next opponent is Ospreay. So it will be interesting to see how Shingo handles Ospreay, and then if Ospreay kind of looks past Shingo to get to David Finley so he can try to get that belt. Like, I'm interested to see how they handle this. And then what else was there? I'm trying to think of what else was really good. There's been some really solid matches. We had the Greatest Okan wrestle a couple times.
I'm a big Zach fan right now. Zack Sabre Jr. is crushing it right now. I did not night 2 the Kenta versus ZSJ match is one of the ones I wanted to call out because I knew that was going to be a pretty good match, but no, they were beating the crap. They were slapping the shit out of each other, and I was just like, it was one of those times where I was just like, oh man, they are just. And I mean, there was still technical because it's Zach, but it was like, I can still strike, jerk. I may be this like wily technician, but I can also, beat the crap
with the power
out
of George Michael.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. It's true.
If you enjoyed that match, wait till you get to night 8. The main event is Zach versus Tana.
Oh.
I've
seen that. It's so funny. I've seen the match both a few years ago, and also it was at Madison Square Garden. It just happened to be the one that.
Thankfully, Jay White.
But it's always different. And I love that about those guys.
That match was a banger. Like, this is definitely a standout match from like. When you go back and talk about G1, like, this will be one of the matches that stands out. Like, it was phenomenal. And this was also another one where the loser of the match was incensed, like, could not believe that they lost this match and had to convince, like, Red Shoes also had to convince them that no, it was a 3 count. It was not a 2 count.
And Shoes is like, you're not in America right now. Okay? Yeah. It's not fake news. You actually lost.
Red Shoes is like, no, I counted. I did my job.
I'm doing the thing. I know what I'm doing here.
And last night we had ELP on commentary, and ELP was really great. He was not as much of an asshole as I thought he would be. Like he kind of like he was really enjoying some of the match. I mean, of course he put in like his ELP spin,
of course.
Especially when there's like, you know, he was talking about Jay White, and he's talking about like Great O'Con and stuff like that, and he's talking about you know, so he did kind of have that stuff, but he really like was a really good partner for Kevin. But it was really funny because the person who won one of the matches, I won't say which match because I might give it away, but he was translating. So he's like, I'll translate for you. And then Kevin was like, that is not what he said. and he's like, and he just ignores him and keeps going. And Kevin's like, y'all, that is not what he said. And it was funny because I tweeted about it, and Obari liked my tweet. Nice. That is the second time he has liked my tweet in the last 2 weeks. Like, I had tweeted 1 week, like before High Alert, I had quote tweeted it and said 1 week away. And so he liked that. And then because we finished night 8, like 30 minutes before night 9 was starting. So I guess he was going through the climax hashtag and he liked it. And I was like, oh, wow, that's 2 tweets that Obari is like.
You're on his radar.
Yeah, we're on his radar. I'm like, I was like, go read that article.
We're awesome. How could we not be?
Yes. But I know another thing that we were going to talk about was how we can't stop. Like, we were trying to watch just the tournament matches, but then Filthy Tom.
I had to put that in there because you had tweeted about it, and I was like, okay, it's not just me.
No, it's not just you. Like, I can't
help but I see him on the thing as I'm scrolling through. I'm like, I'll just stop it for a couple minutes. The next thing I know, I'm like watching an entire
I'm like, oh, I'll watch
match.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna watch his entrance and like watch because him and Royce just feed off of each other, and Royce is like,
they're
so funny.
They're having so much.
They're
fun.
Living their best life.
It's like he knows that he's there to wrestle, and he knows how important it is. And I don't think for 1 second that Tom Lawler doesn't understand the importance of the G1.
Oh, absolutely.
But oh my God, if he isn't making the most of it in his like way, and I love it.
And Royce is too. Like Royce has always been someone like I kind of pay attention to him, but Tom Lawler's obviously he's the focus of Team Filthy. Like it is his stable. But so it's been nice to kind of see more of this personality from Royce. He's really funny, and like they do this thing where like Lawler flexes and then Royce acts like he's gonna bite his bicep. Like it's funny every time. Like I know it's coming, and I laugh every time.
Every time.
And then and Royce always has the greatest outfits. Like he's worn like this crushed velvet type of like, or a velour, I guess is what it was. Like he had the silver velour like onesie, and not onesie, but like the jacket and the matching pants, and like. But then last night he came out with Tom.
It was like tiger stripe.
It was almost like hilarious. A Teddy Long looking.
That's hilarious.
Bit. And it was just Royce is just leaning into it, kind of like the Young Bucks lean into their wild outfits. Royce is leaning into his stuff, and Tom's wearing his. He wears the. Then we've noticed he sometimes wears those shorts when he's not a solo match. He wears these like they look like biker shorts, like the way that they're cut, but they're still jean. So Kevin has been calling it the Jean1 every time.
I heard him is out. I heard him say, I was like, did he just say the Jean1? And so I was like, I hope he did.
And then I've noticed every time Tom Lawler is out, he calls it the Jean1. So I was tweeting about the Jean1 last night using that hashtag, and I'm mad that whoever makes GIFs has not made any of Tom in the G1, and I'm very mad at them, and they need to get on it because they are missing out on some quality gifts.
You hear that, people? Let's go gift that crap.
Yeah. So I know that it's enticing to just to go straight to the tournament matches, but if you see that a Filthy Tom and Royce matches on, please stop and watch. You will not be disappointed. They've been entertaining as hell every time, and then even the solo matches that Tom has been in, I will say, and so I also haven't watched Night 9 yet, but he joined Kevin Kelly on commentary.
Oh, nice.
For the tournament matches. So I'm looking forward to hearing him on commentary and hearing what he has to say about stuff. But he after his match, he cut a promo because he faced Jonah, and that was a really solid match. And Jonah got the win, and Tom had a very unexpected promo. Tom's usually very funny and very loose, but this was a very serious promo. He talked about how he was like almost in tears a few times, and he talked about how, I believe when he was 19, he said he lost his sister to a drug driving accident, and then he was talking about how he lost his UFC career at 35, and he said for some bullshit reasons. And then he was talking about how a few months ago his dad had a health scare, and if you've seen on the YouTube channel, you might have seen where he was on Grandpa Des, and he talked about how, because it was during Mania weekend, and he had a couple of matches, and he had talked about like as soon as he landed, he found out his dad was having some health problems, and he wasn't sure what to do. Like, do I stay and wrestle or do I go back to my dad? And he's like, I think my dad would want me to stay here. And so his dad's health, if I remember correctly, I think he said his dad's health is, under control, but it was scary and he almost lost his dad, which he talks about. Well, then when he got to Japan, his mother, he nearly lost her. He found out when he was in Japan that when he had first got to Japan, that she needed a pacemaker. And he was like, I nearly lost her. And he was like, so he was just like, and he wasn't using it like as an excuse, but it was kind of as he talks, he kind of, you can tell he's using this as motivation to put, because he's like, I'm here, I'm in this tournament means a lot to me, so I'm going to use this as fuel. So I think, he is at this point, he is 0-2 in the tournament. So I think, he's facing, so he has Yano next, which I still expect Tom to go in as Tom. And, I think he's going to have a lot of fun with Yano, but then he's got to wrestle Okada and somebody else that I can't remember now who it was he was talking about. So I think we're going to still see the fun side of Tom, but I think we're also going to see the serious, like, this is why he was a champion for a year.
Right.
The strong, we're going to see why he deserves to be in this G1. So I think it was really nice. And I was reading, because I saw it late, and I saw there were some quote tweets, so I was looking, and some of them were in Japanese, and they were just like, you could tell they were really touched by what he said, and they were like, I was already a fan of his, I'm already supporting him, and they're like, now I really want him to do well. And so I think, and Mel and I talked about this before we even knew that he was going to be in the G1. We said, if Tom's going to be in the G1, the Japanese fans are going to love him.
Oh, yeah.
And yes. I think that they do. And Tom even said on Twitter, he's changed not his but like the display it's in Japanese now, because he said he wanted to make it easier for Japanese fans to find him. So I think the fans really have taken a liking to him because he's so much fun. He's a great wrestler. And then I think that promo, just showing that vulnerability, kind of endeared him even more to them. So I think that, no matter what happens and where he ends up points wise, I think that we're probably going to see him in Japan a lot more often, because I think the fans really like him a lot, and they should, because he's phenomenal.
We love that guy.
We do.
We talk about it every time.
We do.
I think that's about the only one. The Ishii and Jay White match was excellent. I highly recommend it.
Yeah,
it almost felt like they were cheering, even though they weren't allowed. It felt very.
Jay's got to mock him.
Jay.
Jay is gonna Jay.
God, I love that stupid prick so much.
I do too. I love him.
I love hating him. He's an amazing wrestler. He's an amazing heel. I mean, he's so good at being such a prick.
And he doesn't have to like stoop to using like harmful language. Like, he doesn't have to stoop to like any type of slurs. He doesn't say anything misogynistic. Like, he does insult the fans, but he's not insulting their intelligence. He's insulting them because they can't cheer.
They can't cheer.
Like, and so that's what he uses. Like, he's very good about not being like trying to dumb down the fan.
Kind of a bully. He's kind of a big jerk. He's like, ha, you can't eat this thing, or you can't make a noise, or you can't, you know.
And then ELP has also been playing on that. When
a little bit.
And there was this thing in one of the matches where it was ELP and Kenta versus Tom and Royce. And so Tom always claps to get the fans into it. Well, then ELP is like trying to do it, but he was like doing all this extra stuff, like he's stomping and he's doing it, and then he like stomps across the ring, and Kenta is like, what are you doing? And ELP was like basically, and then they were clapping at each other, and then they were hitting each other to the beat like using their forearm, like they would clap and then they would do like it was just really funny, and it worked really well. The fans, I think, were really into it, and it was just really funny. So even ELP has kind of, because obviously ELP is a heel, but he's kind of taken part of that too, and it's just, you know, the whole Bullet Club thing, and so it works really well. And yeah, Jay is. I don't know if you've seen some of the hashtags Jay is using. He's using what is the? Is it?
Should.
One of my favorite that he's now using is "Come to Jesus."
Oh, geez. Oh, my God. That's beautiful. God, that guy is like, he's a freaking genius.
He is. Because I think
I hate how much of a genius he is.
Yeah, I think it was like the US to J, I think is what he's using.
Or like it never ends.
Something along those lines, but then the "Come to Jesus" is
you know what? Don't stop being you, man. Don't stop selling out the United Center and Madison Square Garden by yourself.
Sell out all the arenas.
Sell them all out, brother. Sell them all out. That's probably a good place to wrap it up, unless you have any other things you wanted to mention.
No, I think that's it. I think that this is a good place, and we've gone a little longer than expected. Again,
that's okay. We weren't
expecting to watch SummerSlam. If SummerSlam hadn't happened, we probably could have cut out like a half an hour.
Yeah, we're fine. People love us. They like it. They like hearing our opinions.
Yes,
I know, because my Twitter blows up after the thing, so it's good.
Yeah,
plus, we had Nikki.
Who always have some fun things to say, so at least we entertain a couple of people.
Yes, and we appreciate the fact that you tell us that we entertain you, or that you hang out with us.
To hear.
It's great to hear the feedback, and it's a lot of fun.
It is.
I'm really excited that we got to now we know who Nikki is. So when Sam is saying we, this is who she's talking about. Yep. And this is part of our wrestling family
together.
Yeah.
We're a big wrestling family.
Yeah. So we'll
let me pop those back up there for you guys who
so we'll probably have, maybe we can bring Nikki back and see.
I would love that. I hope that. I hope that Nikki had fun and wants to.
Now we got to get Bob on here too, and then maybe have a show with all four of us.
We'll do that sometime.
I don't know. That's going to be like 5 hours probably.
She's not wrong. We'd have to pick something and have bullet points.
Exactly.
If we ever get Patreon level, that'll be your Patreon show. It'll be 5.5 hours long.
Yeah, right.
Jeremy will be like, "There's no room for this on the feed."
Listen, if you can watch 6 hours of WrestleMania, you can listen to 5 hours of us.
Fair enough. That's actually fair. And while we're talking about where you can find us, this is everywhere, and this is the Fight Game Media Network. Subscribe to the channel. Really helps us out, and it helps out all the other awesome people doing awesome content.
Yeah, there's so many people putting out great content on Fight Game Media, and you need to make sure you're subscribed everywhere so you don't miss it, because there's always something too. That's really one of the really great things, is there's constantly content coming out. So make sure you're following us, Fight Game Media, everywhere so you don't miss anything.
Yeah, and I mean, this is not just because we're on the network, guys. I actually listen and watch, listen to and watch a lot of the stuff that we have on there, because we have some really fun people.
Yeah,
you've gotten to meet them on a couple of our post game shows and so forth. But it's a lot of fun. So
And we haven't decided when exactly yet, but I know somebody was asking about a live stream last week. We will. I gotta check the G1 finale. I don't remember when it is, but even if we don't do G1, All Out's coming out. Coming up. So there will be a live stream probably within the next few weeks. So
I'm sure somebody on this network is going to do a post recap.
Yeah.
For
So
All
even
Out,
if it's not Powerbombshells,
we'll have to figure out who's going to be in Chicago and who's not. So, and then we'll have
to throw up our banner. That banner is never getting deleted.
That's one of the banners, just in case you guys needed it. So, so maybe we'll have a show with this group of people because they tend to be a lot of fun. And none of the people are really in Chicago because they're in Hoffman Estates, but that's irrelevant. I love Chicago so much that I think everything should be at the United Center. And
so does Jay White.
I know. He'll sell it out again. All right. So for Sam and Nikki, I'm Mel. This has been a lot of fun. We appreciate you guys being with us, and we will see you next week.
We will. Bye.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, thanks for being on.
Yay.